What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel again, guys. So today I'm over here just kind of hanging out, man, at the what I like to call the honeycomb hideout or the bat cave. So I was just thinking, I don't think I've ever had an opportunity to kind of just really take you guys on a little bit of a tour. This is a 20 by 45 unit. It's a metal building. This is actually used for, I think, for boat and RV storage, but for me, I use it for my cars. This place actually has quite a few units, and lots of people store cars. There's a few people that have businesses here, and so, but for me, I use it as kind of like my little shop. You know what I mean? And so it's just enough room for me to fit 4 cars and my my Razor 1000, and I can fit them in here comfortably. Right now, I only have 2 cars in here. My 96 Impala. This is my baby. This car right here. This is a 1996 Impala Super Sport. I've owned the car since 2011, I believe it was. I bought it from a dealership out here in the Houston area. I paid 10 grand for the car. Car didn't look like this when I bought it, of course, but it was a dark cherry metallic, super clean. Interior was clean. I mean, it was just a nice, clean overall car. I think it was a 2-owner car, well maintained. I had all the maintenance records on the car when I got the car. A big Gladlock bag full of receipts and paperwork on all the work that's been done on the car. But I had the car and I kept it plain Jane for a while. I put wheels on it. And that was about it. And I kind of told myself, like, I'm not going to customize this car. I'm going to leave it like it is. The only thing I'll probably do is maybe do some performance upgrades. But for the most part, I'm going to keep the car factory. And then, about 4 or 5 years later, I just got this wild hair and this itch to want to customize the car. And so, like, the number one question that I get about this car, I swear at least 1,000 times since I've been posting this car, is this the car from Bitchin Rides? So the story behind how the car came to be the way it is I'm a big fan of Motor Trend. I think it used to be called Velocity, and I used to watch a show on there called Bitchin Rides. And the show Bitchin Rides, for those of you who know, Bitchin Rides, the owner is Dave Kindigit, and he owns the shop Kindigit Customs. And on one of their episodes back in 2014, they did a 94 Impala for a basketball player, Darren Williams, who played for the Utah Jazz for a while. And he's actually a Texas native. The car on the episode that they did for Darren Williams, they painted it red and black. And for those of you who know me personally, red and black, that's just like my favorite color combination. I've always just loved black and red. It's always been my thing. And red was my favorite color. It's the only color I wore. Shoes, clothes, everything. My whole closet was red. So when I saw this red Impala on Bitchin Rides, I fell in love. I was like, man, that is the most beautiful Impala. If I'm gonna redo my car and do a makeover, it's got to look like that car. It's maybe not identical, but it's got to have some of the same elements, color scheme, and whatnot of that car. Because to me, that car, that's the epitome of like fine car customization, and like they pulled off a beautiful build. So that's what I did. I set out to build a car that was a tribute to the Kindigit Bitchin Rides 94 Impala. And but when I set out to do my build, I made a commitment that I said although my car will look like that car and it will be very similar, my car will have its own personality. It'll have its own design cues and customization that will be different from that car. And so what you see here is a result of all of my research and all of my studying of that car on Bitchin Rides. And if you look at that car and you look at my car is different from that car. It's a lot of like little subtle changes that I did to my car that they didn't do in that car that make my car different and kind of set it apart. One thing, my interior, and I apologize, the lighting is horrible, but my interior on this car is I've got, so they on that car, the Bitchin Rides car, they do have black and red interior. They have like a black interior with I'm looking for my flashlight. They got a black and red interior. I mean a black interior with like red stitching and uh and whatnot. On my car, I got a black interior with red stitching, but what I did was they kept the factory stitch pattern. On my car, I went with a diamond stitch. So I wanted my car to be different, right? So if you look, I got a diamond stitch, and not only did I just do a diamond stitch, but I did the diamond stitch with the big thread. See, a lot of people don't notice it because they don't look at these cars enough. But if you look at my thread, that thread is probably twice the size of your standard thread that you see in most interiors. The guy that does my interior, he's been in the business a long time, and he has a machine that's over 40 years old. This machine only is one of the only machines that'll take thread that large. Most of the newer machines that most of the more modern shops have, those newer machines don't have. They can't hold a thread that's that large. So this thread is like a lot bigger than your usual thread. So anyways, so I built this car. Inside I got the custom headliner, suede headliner, and then I got the diamond stitch in the sunroof. So the car on Bitchin Rise didn't have a sunroof in it for one. It didn't have diamond stitch interior for two. They didn't have a center console like that. So that center console, that I took a 95 Impala console and mated it with my 96 Impala console to make a front to rear console. On the 95s, they were column shift, so they have cup holders in their console, and on the 96s, they're floor shift, so they have the floor shift in their consoles. And then what my guy did when he did my interior, he did my rear seat. He took the actual factory rear seat in my car. This is the original rear seat. He customized it to make it look like two bucket seats. I didn't change my rear seat. My guy just took the rear seat that I had that the factory came with, and he just modified it to make it look like two bucket seats. But this is actually the original rear seat, just modified. He added some cushion to make the sides look a little more kind of bolstered. He did the stitching and whatnot, the diamond stitch. And this stitch pattern, by the way, this diamond stitch with the line down the middle, I got that from an Audi, like an Audi A7, I believe it was. It was an Audi A7 or Audi S7. I can't remember which one it was, but it was one of their performance package Audis, the real expensive one with all the power. And I saw that. It was actually, what I saw was black with yellow stitching, and I fell in love with that stitch pattern. I was like, I want to do that same stitch pattern in my Impala. So my guy, he took the pictures I gave him, and and he did what he did. So I also had something else you don't see on the Kindigit ride. They don't have a custom tumbler, a custom SS tumbler like mine. That's something that you didn't see. And like I said, it's all about the details, man. It's all about the details. See that Impala. Shout out to Ink Nation. That's my car club. I'm in an Impala club. It stands for Impalas and Caprices. I'm in the Houston chapter. We have a national chapter with we've got over 1,000 members across the United States. We also have a chapter in Japan as well, and we continue to grow every day. But guys, I apologize that the lighting is so poor inside the storage. I got a flashlight trying to help out as best I can, but it's still a little piss poor. But anyways, you get the picture. One of these days, I'll take the car out and I'll do a proper introduction to the car and do a full walkthrough and everything. So anyways, so yeah, the Kindigit ride does have the stitching. They do have the stitching on the dash, around the instrument cluster, and on the corners here. That I took directly from them. But what they don't have that diamond stitch over the airbag. I got the baseball stitching on the gear shift. I think they did that as well. They did put like a custom console where they did like an iPad. You can't see it now because it's not in the car, but I actually do have a custom iPad cradle in my car as well. and it holds a iPad Mini. I think it's a Generation 2 or Generation 3 iPad Mini, which fits into that cradle. And when it's in that cradle, the whole dash looks like one piece. Like you can't tell that it even comes out. It looks like it's just meshed all together with one. I love my door panels. That's another thing. The Kindigit car didn't have door panels like this. Now they did have the stitching around the armrest on the armrest. I remember that, and I think they did have some stitching on this handle right here. But they didn't have any kind of stitching up here. It was pretty much just a plain black door with the stitching around the corners and the edges. Same thing down here at the bottom. Kindigit didn't have diamond stitching at the bottom of the door. I think they kept that carpet, or it was either like just a plain leather with like one line of stitching. So, and let's talk about the wheels. So my wheels are 22-inch Asantis. Their wheels were 22-inch. I think they were B forged or something like that. I forgot the name of them, but their wheels were actually weren't even black. So the lip of their wheels were black, but the center of their wheels were like a bronze color. And if you know the car, the stripe that runs from the hood to the trunk on the Kindigit car, it was black in the middle, and then the edge around the stripe, it had like a little 1/4 inch pinstripe. That 1/4 inch pinstripe was actually bronze. It was a bronze color. It was the same bronze color that they had on the wheels. So they tried to tie in the colors. And if you remember, on that car, on the Kindigit car, they didn't have a space, or like they didn't have like a space in between the stripe, between the main stripe and the pinstripe. The pinstripe was right on top of the main stripe. So when I did my car, I said I don't want my car like that. I want my car to have an actual space between the pinstripe. Okay, the other thing, another design element of my car that's different. My trunk, my spoiler. Okay, this spoiler is a what they call a Langness Impala spoiler that has been around a long time. But what happened was I was sitting in traffic one day and I was behind in traffic. I was behind a Challenger. I think it was a Challenger, and it might have been a Corvette. I can't remember. But I saw their spoiler, and they had like that notch in the middle of the spoiler where it was notched out. And I was like, man, that's dope. I liked it. So I took a picture of it and I sent it to the guy that was making my spoiler. And I said, hey, man, I hope it's not too late, but do you think there's any way possible you can modify that spoiler to look like this? And so he was like, well, I can try it and see. So sure enough, he tried it, and he started sending me pictures of like, progress as he was, modifying it. It took him a while because there's like a lot of Bondo and filler and fiberglass work that has to be done to get that to look a certain way. So anyways, he ended up pulling it off, right? And I slapped it on here, and the rest was history. When I put mine on here, man, people went crazy. Like they loved this spoiler a whole lot, and people were asking for it. Like, where'd you get that spoiler? Who did it? Now the guy that made the spoiler, he's not in business anymore. I think he ran out of business. So now another company came along. They make a spoiler just like it. They're calling it the C7 style spoiler, as in the Corvette C7. And it's actually my buddy. He's on Instagram. His page is at Phantom CF1. Yeah, at Phantom CF1. Phantom like isn't like a Rolls Royce Phantom. PHANTOM. Phantom CF1. Okay. So the other thing I want to point out, my car has a roof spoiler. My stripe is integrated and painted into the roof spoiler. This roof spoiler is a companion to the spoiler on the trunk. They work together. It's a design cue that matches that and mates that with that. So that's another thing. Another thing I did on my car, which is kind of goofy really, but I like how it looks. I don't care what people think. I put a roof antenna on my car. You don't see that on a Kindigit car, right? Let me move around. So this hood, so what they did on the show, they took the factory Impala hood and they modified it to put the Camaro Z01 vents in the hoods to give it that sleek look, that sporty sleek look that we all loved when we saw the car the first time. But what I did was I actually had a guy make this hood out of fiberglass, and he took an actual Z01 hood scoop with the vents and fiberglassed it into a fiberglass Impala hood, and then he made it all together, cleaned it up real good, and then I saw it. I was like, hey man, I love the hood. Do you have any available? He says I don't have any available yet. The only one I have is the prototype. He said the mold is being made, and I'll have the new hoods, I'll have them ready like in a couple months. And I said, man, I can't wait that long. I need that hood like right now. So he was like, I tell you what, I'll sell you the prototype hood. He said, but I'll be honest, it's a little rough. He said, man, I don't care. I need it, man. So I said, we'll body work it and get everything that's wrong with it. We'll fix it. So he shipped me the hood. You know, we cleaned it up real good, body worked it, slapped it on here, and the rest was history. Okay, so when you look at my car and when you look at their car, in my opinion, my hood is far more aggressive, and in my opinion, looks far better than their hood, because their hood is just basically, like I said, a factory hood with just four little vents in it. The hood doesn't have a cowl or anything to it. It doesn't have any kind of aggressiveness or contour to it. It's just a flat factory hood with those inserts, like basically almost kind of like a snorkel, basically, kind of like, which is cool. I mean, like I said, it works for that car. The car was dope no matter what. But I just, when I talk about my car and I talk about their car, I think it's important for me to point out the things that are different from my car. Another thing, in my car, I got projector beam headlights, double projector beam headlights, by the way, with the color change halos. And I got twin halos. I got a halo inside a halo. So I got like 4 sets of halos on my headlights. And also I got halos in my fog lights. If you remember from the show, when they put that car on the show, that car wasn't even finished all the way. You could tell there was some stuff that still needed to be done. One of the things that needed to be done was the fog lights. They didn't have fog lights in the car. It wasn't all the way completely done. So also I got these hood pins. These hood pins are made by a company called Aero Catch. Super dope. I love them. It just gives the car like a whole different look. It just looks more sporty, and I love them, man. You will have to cut a hole in your hood in order to fit them on your car, but in my opinion, it's well worth it. And the look is just, you can't really beat it, man. So yeah, so that's and under the hood of my car, I've got pretty much a bone stock LT1, original engine that came in this car. I didn't do anything really special to it. I think the guy before me might have done a few little mild modifications to it, but it's just a nice, clean, solid running LT1 with just minimal modifications done to it. The car does have a shift kit in it, so it does have a nice mean kick from like second to third gear, I think it is. But yeah, so like I said, the car is is a drivable car, and I can put it on the road. I can drive it just about anywhere, within reason. And another thing too, you can't see it really because the lighting is horrible. But this car has carbon fiber accents all over. It's hard to see it really, but if you look a little closer, you can kind of see it right there. Yeah, so that's a carbon fiber accent. The steering wheel is carbon fiber. If you look at the center console, there's carbon fiber accents around the console. On all the door panels, around the TV, not the TV, but the iPad that goes in the front. There's carbon fiber in those as well. So the car, like I said, the car has its own personality. You know what I mean? So that's the car, man. Let me know if you have any, what your thoughts are, comments, concerns. Yeah. So, anyways, man. So that's my Impala, my '96 Impala. This people usually get a kick out of this. If you look at that, that's a Dodge Demon badge. It irritates some people, especially the Dodge guys. It's not meant to. I'm not insinuating that the car has a demon engine in it or anything like that. I just do that because I call the car. It kind of has like a Satan or a demon theme to it with the red and the black. And someone told me one day that this car looks really, really mean. And so it just came to me. I said, well, yeah, it looks like a demon. You know what I mean? And so when I saw those decals, those demon decals on eBay, I was like, fuck it. I ordered a set and I put them on the car. You know what I mean? They've been on there ever since. They've been there probably 4 or 5 years. What I thought about doing at one point was getting the word killer put under the word demon, like killer, or killer, to mess with people that are Dodge guys, to kind of mess with them and say, hey, this is a Dodge demon killer, But then of course I don't have anything under the hood to back that up, so I do plan on at some point. I do plan on yanking this LT1 out of this car and putting the LS in it. It'll probably be a 6.2 or something like that. But right now, I mean, the car just runs good. There's nothing wrong with it. It's like, if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I feel about that. But yeah, so Oh, well, one more thing I forgot. I hope it's open. Let's see. Dang it. Trunk is closed. I wanted to show you the trunk. Let's see, where's my key at? Let's see, where's my key? Shit, where's my key? Oh, man. This is what happens when you got too many cars. Can't find the goddamn keys. I normally keep them somewhere within reach, like but I don't see them. Let's see, man. Sometimes I put them in up here. I don't see them there. Oh, we're gonna talk about this Cutlass here in a minute. A little side by side. Let's see. That's my baby right there. Cutlass. The Cuddy. Ah, okay. I found the keys. All right, so let's see. I wanted to show you this trunk on this Impala. That's another thing. See, on the Bitchin' Rise episode, they never talk about the trunk, right? So you never see the trunk. So I don't know if they did something in the trunk, or if they kept the trunk plain Jane, or what. But they never talk about what's going on in the trunk. I would imagine they probably did some kind of sound system in the truck, but like I said, in the car. But the car wasn't finished at the time, so we never got to see that. Now, my trunk is normally a lot nicer than this. It's dirty right now because I got all this junk in here. I got to get out of here. But as you can see, my trunk is fully customized. Now, I didn't do subwoofers and all the lights and all that stuff. I wanted to keep my build simple, right? Simple and cost effective, but still nice and still neat. So what you got there? That's a tire cover, spare tire cover with the SS Impala symbol. It's got the diamond stitch around the edge. Nice touch. Tastefully done, not over the top. And then I got these panels that wall off the trunk to kind of give it a nice, nice, neat appearance. I got a little door here, a little handle I can pull if I want to store stuff in there. See, that's where all this shit right here, where it goes, it fits all over. I told my guy when he did my trunk, I was like, dude, why didn't you just put a door on the left side like you did the right side? And he didn't really have an answer for me. He just said I didn't know you wanted two doors. I was like, yeah. I mean, no sense in walling off both sides and not being able to use the space behind the wall. I was like, damn. I wanted him to go back and redo it, but I was ready to get my car, so I just like, screw it, man. I'll just have it done later, man. But I was like lightweight upset with him. I'm like, why wouldn't you think I wouldn't want the door on the opposite side as well? I mean, it just makes sense, man. And not to mention, it makes it symmetrical. Now it's kind of like off. It's like lopsided. You got one side with the door, one side without the door. It's like, okay, what was he thinking there? But anyways, man, just my frustration with my guy. So yeah. So this video is way longer than I intended it to be. So I'm gonna shut up and get off of here. So I guess what I'll do is, maybe tomorrow, because I'm losing daylight, and so this lighting is getting even worse. So maybe tomorrow, what I'll do is I'll do like a kind of a walk around of the Cutlass, and we'll talk about that. And then maybe I'll touch on some of the other stuff I got going on in here. Some of the stuff that you see in these pictures, like that engine over there. That's a 6.0 L24 out of a 2001 Yukon Denali. More than likely, I will probably put that exact engine in my Monte Carlo, but it'll go to the machine shop, and they'll clean it, bust it down, break it down, check the internals and make sure they're healthy. If they're not healthy, then they'll replace whatever needs to be replaced, clean it up real good, and then from there it'll go to the shop that I'm gonna have do the LS swap. So stay tuned for that. That's the transmission right there, sitting on that pallet, and I got a bunch of miscellaneous stuff that I got in this storage. Everything has a story behind it. So, and if you look back there on the top shelf back there, all those are my wheels. All those are wheels that those are like the factory wheels that came off of the cars that you see here in the garage or the cars I got at my house. A couple of those is like spare tires that I had left over from when I swapped out tires. And then I got those big tractor tires. Those go on my ATV, on my side-by-side. Those are 33s, I think, 33-inch tires or 35-inch tires. I forget. I think they're 35s. 20-inch wheels on 35-inch tires. So, and then all this crap back here, that's stuff that I took off of that Denali that I bought to get the engine out of. I ended up just taking everything I could off of it so I could sell it or use it for other stuff. There's a door. There's another door back there. There's the headliner. And then if you look over here, you'll see some other miscellaneous stuff. There's a sunroof right there. There's another door. You know, there's the luggage racks I got off. I figured somebody would have a need for some of this stuff. You know, maybe I post it on Craigslist or eBay or whatever. Get, you know, even if I get $1 out of it, you know what I mean? It's $1 I didn't have before, right? So that's kind of how I see it. You know, all money spends. So, but yeah, okay, guys. I guess I'm gonna get off. So that's a look inside my world, my little honeycomb hideout. I'm gonna get off, guys. It's been real.